Sponsor testimony on Senate Bill 247. Senate Bill 247 will clarify that Ohio's restoration of firearm rights applies to all firearm rights. There are certain criminal convictions that will disqualify someone from owning a firearm. These convictions run from very serious felonies such as murder down to minor misdemeanor possessions of marijuana. Many people under firearm disabilities may apply to common pleas court to have their firearm rights restored. This process includes filling out an application and then having the court will have their probation department run a background check. In most cases, the prosecution will not have an objection. If the probation department finds a significant criminal history, or if the prosecution objects, the applicant is almost always denied. If the application is granted, the applicant is given a court order restoring their right to own firearms. This bill is in a response to U.S. versus Karen, which was decided in June of 1998. That case held that unless a state court restitution of firearms was a, and I stress, complete restoration of firearm rights, that person is still under the firearm disability. The federal government is not allowed to accept less than a complete restoration of gun ownership rights. Approximately 2 years ago, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives reviewed Ohio's restoration of rights statute after this decision was rendered. They concluded that Ohio's statute was not a complete restoration. The reason for this is that it specifically does not restore the right to own an extremely regulated and rare category of firearm known as, and I quote, dangerous ordnance, end quote. For an ordinary law-abiding citizen to legally own this kind of item, the local law enforcement chief has to sign off on the application, and then the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives conducts a thorough background check. This process typically takes about 6 months. However, it is extremely rare. Since Ohio's restoration statute prohibits the person from even attempting the application process, the entire restoration is void in the eyes of our federal government. Very simply, the purpose of this bill is to remedy the situation that exists in Ohio, to take out language dealing with dangerous ordnance. The reality is that very few, if any, will even attempt to apply for a dangerous ordinance, but that the change is necessary for Ohio to comply with the federal law. My goal is to go back, frankly, to what we were doing before, to restore gun ownership rights before the BAFTE made this determination that it cannot be done without this change. I'd like to acknowledge to the committee that I have worked with and discussed this bill, and that this corrective bill has the support of Governor Strickland and Attorney General Richard Cordray. I look forward to the testimony of others on this bill, as they will offer some more examples, more what I refer to as practical examples, and also some legal details that will explain this bill. Ladies and gentlemen of the committee, I'd be happy to answer any questions at this time.
Thank you very much, Senator Wilson. For the record, Senator Hughes is here. We have a quorum. Any questions for Senator Wilson? Seeing no questions, I have one. Just for some public awareness, there has been at least some contemplation or discussion that 247 possibly could end up merging with Senate Bill 239. Senator, do you have any objections if we were to that process?
I've understood that to be the case. I don't have any objection personally. Obviously, what I think all of us are here for and what we all serve for is good government, and so that we can make Ohio a better state.
Thank you very much, Senator Wilson. Any questions based on the chair's question? Seeing none, thank you very much. You did a great job.